Good evening or morning to everybody out there. And it looks like your Hearthstone is on cooldown, so why not grab some rested XP with me, Essence of Azeroth host Will Harrison, and we're going to be going over the news that you need to know for the week of November 13th, 2023. It's been a big 3 weeks or so in the world of World of Warcraft, and not just BlizzCon, not just a new and the final patch of Dragonflight coming out, as we know, but also the last raid launching tomorrow, waiting on the realms to come up, depending on how well that goes. It's been a little touch and go lately, which is funny because last Tuesday when the Emerald Dream patch launched, I was telling people in the Discord server for the podcast, just like, you know, they seem like they've gotten better at it lately, so I don't think there's gonna be any problems. And then I think like literally immediately a delay on servers going up immediately went out. So that's just how things go. But you know, we're in that weird lull period now, which, you know, we're waiting for a new expansion, The War Within, which will launch next year at some point. Blizzard has said that there is still going to be content drops between now and then, so we do have that to look forward to. I suspect that will come in the form of more heritage quests, more like random quests, kind of like the the Minari Draenei quest being added, things like that along the way, along with more holiday refreshes, and probably a prologue of some kind to connect Dragonflight and the first part of the World of Soul saga. And we're getting to see a little bit of that now as 10.2 patch came out last week. The new zone, the Emerald Dream, is out. It's cool. I love it. It's beautiful. It's full of animals. I like it a lot. And it's funny because there's a real return to the kind of quest-based storytelling that I really love about WoW, that sometimes they had gotten away from, honestly, since Legion. And I will say that in the sense that I don't want this podcast or my thoughts to ever turn into like the regular dumping of Shadowlands and BFA, because despite the fact that I don't like the overall finished product of those expansions, I would be lying if I didn't say that in the moment when they were new content, I didn't enjoy the hell out of them. You know, when I first started Essence of Azeroth, Shadowlands had literally just came out. The first episode is about Bwonsamdi. I did multiple episodes about all the zones of the Shadowlands itself. I still really love those areas and think they're beautiful, and I like a lot of the lore. Same with BFA. Like, BFA added some things that I think are really cool and interesting. The Zandalari have been such a large part of Warcraft lore for so long, but not in the game. You know, they're the first troll nation. They were the nation of all nations and the one that took over immediately after the fall of the Black Empire. Like, we do need to respect that, and seeing, you know, their entire starting area for the first time as a Horde player and, you know, going up the Big Pyramid, that was still very cool. So I don't want to dump on those two expansions too much, but there has been a step away from the kind of storytelling the game had been known for, in lieu of more dynamic content in the sense of like more open events, more ongoing storytelling, and not just telling the story they want to tell, but kind of like dragging it out because they don't know where it's going yet. And maybe that's how I would sum it up, that it felt obvious through BFA and Shadowlands that maybe they didn't fully know where they were going with it. Whereas with Dragonflight, I feel like they've gotten back to that a little bit, as I just realized, because there is a portal in Valdrakken to the Emerald Dream. If you didn't know that, go. It's just behind the Great Vault where the green Dragonflight stuff is. And if you look at it now, it's very obvious that there was going to be a portal there. There's just a giant landing area with guards that have been there this entire time. And it's like, oh, yeah, I can see why you would put a portal there. But already, and we haven't gotten all of the content for the Emerald Dream Zone yet. So if you're like me, you're waiting for them to release the next like tiers of it. There's some really, really good stuff. We get a lot of new interactions with Viranoth, the winter primalist, who is now joined the good guy side and is trying to stop her brother. You get to learn a lot about her, and that's great because she's a prime character in the newest World of Warcraft novel. So it's a great time to kind of learn about her and catch up. One unexpected quest chain I wasn't really expecting to see is some stuff between Forsaken and Night Elves, specifically Chandris Feathermoon and Lillian Voss, in just a really great, touching quest line. That was really fantastic. We see some characters from Shadowlands reappear in interesting ways, which I won't spoil. There's just a lot of goofiness and silliness mixed in with the normal doom and gloom storytelling. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but there sure is an awful talk about bringing back a certain Fire Lord, and that maybe Firak is getting played, because you know who served the Void Lords and the Old Gods? That's right, Ragnaros. And he was always the one of the elemental prime elementals that kind of believed in it the most. Like, even if they hadn't mind controlled him, I think he would have been on board, because at the end of the day, he just wants to burn everything. And you can never truly kill Ragnaros, if we've learned anything from these last 20 years, which is great, because Ragnaros is a great villain. So if this means a return of Ragnaros, and maybe the capturing of all of the prime elementals and turning them into enemies down the road, that sounds cool. I'll take that. That'd be great. But speaking of that raid, I wanted to share something interesting that I came across while looking through Wowhead today. And you can look this up by typing in, I'll tell you what to type in a minute, but somebody out there has made a Java-based game you can play in your browser that teaches the mechanics of all the fights coming up in the Amirdrassil, there we go, in the Amirdrassil raid. And it's done through a very simple but effective mini game for each boss. And you can look it up. It's called Pineapplassil, and I'll spell that out. Pineapplassil. Look that up in Google. It's called Pineapplassil, the Chef's Hope. I was trying to find the name of who made it so I can give them credit, because it's just a really cool thing. Let me scroll. It is a Amirdrassil raid mechanics trainer created by Tactical Horse. So even if you don't plan on doing any of Amirdrassil as a raider, go check this out, because it's shockingly well done and fun. And I actually have retained the mechanics. And you know what? Playing through this, there are some really interesting boss fights coming up. And I hope to see some of this raid, because we have people in the guild now. We have people who want to run mythics. I want to run stuff down the line. I need to get back into it. I just respect my priest. I'm going to yet again try to grade and mythics heal as a discipline priest, which might be a mistake. I don't know, but we're going to try to make it happen. And you can find out if I make it happen, cheap plug, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, know what I mean, by going over to our Patreon, to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/Essence of Azeroth, all one word. And you can just give me some money. That's how I should just pitch it. Always you can give me money. But no, for real, I offer 3 price points, because I know it's a weird thing in this day and age, or maybe it's not so weird. I guess with the younger demographics now, in an OnlyFans Patreon world, it's not so weird to just give money directly to the content creators that you like. Because I will say, the money does matter. It does make a difference. I'm able to, do things like buy the comics that I needed to do the next episode, for instance. That all comes from money that comes into the show. And I feel bad about it sometimes, because I know the Essence of Azeroth, even when I have all cylinders firing, is not as active of a content platform as like maybe a YouTube channel or some of the other WoW podcasts that are just people talking. And I'm not saying that as a slight. There is room for all types of WoW podcasts. However, the thing that I am proud of and the thing that has made us as of this week, besides one other podcast, Starting Zone, shout out to those guys, Essence of Azeroth is the highest downloaded lore podcast of any game, and it's the second highest downloaded of any Warcraft, and we're in the top 50 on Apple Podcasts, which means we're probably in the top 50 on Spotify, if not higher, because my downloads on Spotify are significantly higher than they are on Apple. And I'm proud of that because Essence of Azeroth is a unique product. Nothing else out there is like this. It is a labor of love. As I've told other people, I sat down and I said, what isn't being made that I would want? And I immediately thought to myself, why isn't there a World of Warcraft version of This American Life from NPR? I immediately thought of Ira Glass and I said, that's something I would listen to. Like something with some integrity that has a critical analysis that isn't just reading the wiki and isn't just people talking about their in-game experiences, because we all have those in-game experiences. You know, I'm able to do that kind of stuff now with Rested XP because I hope that will provide a supplement, because I feel like if people know me better and know my inclinations and the way I play the game, the way I view the game, then that will help them understand the critical eye that I apply to World of Warcraft. And I hope that's enjoyable. And if you find it enjoyable and you're not already, head over to the Patreon and subscribe. For as little as $3 up to $10, and you get a variety of perks and bonuses, and we'll get you access to our server on Asgalore, where, like, play with us. All I had to do to finally get a guild 10 years later was make a hit podcast. Who knew? And I do miss that aspect of it. I haven't been in a real guild since 2008, when I was still on Alexstrasza, actually, and my first raiding guild, and I had went home from college for the summer and didn't have internet access anymore, so I couldn't play all summer. And when I came back, the guild had disbanded and everybody was gone, and the people I could find didn't know what happened. As it happens, we've all been there. Guilds blow up, things fall apart, somebody does something goes wrong. So it's nice to get back to that, and I really truly enjoy interacting with fans, friends, and listeners of the show. So hard spiel for this week over, and I don't really have much else to add to that. Kind of a short episode this week, I guess. Honestly, I'm just kind of waiting for more Emerald Dream stuff to come out. In the meantime, there's a big Overwatch patch tomorrow, reworking one of my favorite characters in Roadhog. I've been playing a crap ton of Heroes of the Storm, so if you want to play Heroes of the Storm with me, you know where to find me. Murky mains, shout out. Though I don't just play Murky, but I do like this quote-unquote strange characters. I've got a really solid Medivh that I'm really proud of. I've been learning Maiev, who I'm not good with melee characters, but I'm getting there. Just it's fun to play it again, and I really am. I'm huffing the copium, but I really am hoping that Microsoft is going to bring it back and give it a second chance. And even if they don't, I've been having fun playing again. And that's all I really have this week. I don't want to provide too many spoilers for... pardon me. I don't really want to provide too many spoilers for Emerald Dream, especially because tomorrow, with the raid launching, means we're going to be seeing the final cutscene of the expansion and all the storyline stuff that happens afterwards. So if you are prone to spoilers and you don't want to be spoiled until you can see it for yourself, keep that in mind, because it will be everywhere. I'm sure I won't be able to load up TikTok tomorrow without somebody posting the cutscene in its entirety. And I'm excited to see where it's going to go, because it feels like we've got a lot of traveling time to get from Primalists burning down a world tree to Void Gods, or Void Lords, and the Old Gods returning. But maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe there is something more connective there than I thought, as we prepare to go after former knife-turned-waifu Zolototh. There's a really great post on social media over the weekend of... It was a WoW fan art artist who drew like a quote unquote realistic version of Zolotov that wasn't a waifu, and it was kind of aping on the design of what the real look of angels from the Christian Bible are supposed to look like. So it's like all eyeballs and tentacles, and like the first 10 comments were all people just being like, yep, let's still do it. It's like, can still get it. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Personally, I would have stuck with the knife, but that's all I've got. I'm just killing time here. New episode this weekend, probably Monday, for our first ever Essence of Azeroth book club, as we go over the 4 volumes of the DC Comics World of Warcraft comic, which has ended up providing a ton of foundational lore. A lot of important characters pop up, a lot of information. I'd forgotten that Egwin pops up on this thing. There's a lot there. We're going to go over it all. So maybe go read it for yourself and read along, and we'll answer some questions and talk about this weirdness of a thing that is both canon and not canon all at the same time. But until then, I hope you have a good week. Enjoy your time in the Emerald Dream, as I have been, and as I try to get every single new battle pet that I can, including their shiny, sleepy green versions. I've already gotten 4 or 5. And I will talk to you soon, friends. Take care.